We got off-season OTA headlines to talk about, some good, some bad, everything else in between. What's going on, everybody? Christian Pedersen back with another episode of Seahawks Digest, the show here to bring you daily content where I scan the news for top headlines. I got some different Google alerts set up, and largely it's just distilling that down to stuff that we're going to react to and talk about. And I like to say that the show, we're a new show, so we straddle the line between fandom and journalism. So here's what we got for you today. As always, when we talk about this and anything else at the start of a YouTube video, I got to do the shtick where I say, before we get any further, like and subscribe and hit the button. Okay, great, out of the way. Here's the headlines that we got for you today. Let's call up number one, some OTA news. Anthony Bradford, minor knee injury, is perhaps the number one and / the let's get the bad out of the way. It happens, off-season stuff where you have huge, small, everything in between where you just clutch your pearls and you're like, oh, why do we do this in the off-season? But it's a necessary part of the process. So thankfully, when we have ESPN reporters there breaking everything down, we have stuff to go off of in real time about where we're at. And it seems like Anthony Bradford, as of right now, report there from Brady Henderson, courtesy of ESPN, he seems fine. Christian Haynes took the backup. At right guard. But, this is just now we got to just watch this and pay attention. As we go line item by line item through all of these, feel free to comment. Would love to hear from you guys. You guys see football in dramatically different ways across the spectrum than I do at times, and it's great to be educated on this. I get worried anytime any injury update comes through, but I guess that, this, assuming that he is fine, does bring us to the conversation of depth at the O-line. And given that there's still a little bit of cap space to work with, and there's always a conversation about, we had a video a couple days ago on trading Olu, and there's some other ideas out there of what do you do and how do you keep all the pieces coherent from last year's and build upon them. And I think that it's just always important to not lose sight in the shuffle that we just got to be prepared on the offensive line. And we got to be ready for whatever comes our way in terms of randomness of football and wear and tear and all that, and the benefit of spending a little bit of focus, money, and time on those backups is good. Happy to see Haynes getting some reps there. Curious what he will develop into. Next up from the OTA reports, this one on the good side, is that George Holani got his first crack with the number one offense, sharing reps with Jadarian Price. We know that Charbonnet is not going to be there for the entire season, but he is coming back. So it's, I think, always a good situation to be in at a position like that, specifically to get somebody who's down to run their hardest physically. Not that, I don't want to hear this as I don't want you to hear this as I slander guys out there saying, no, they don't always run their hardest, but you get what I'm saying of if George has only but so many games, drives, singular runs, reps to prove himself with the Seahawks or to prove himself with another team or to get an et cetera, some sort of big time plays. And not that effort 100% always translates into massive success, but I like seeing this. We were in a really, for as good of a position as you can be in when you have a guy still, a primary guy like Charbonnet still recovering. We're, I think, in as good of a position, and I think it's all upside house money kind of vibes with the running back situation this coming season. Devon Witherspoon, somebody who we have talked about wanting to get some contract negotiations with done with this summer. He's practiced but not in full 11 on 11s. And DeMarcus Lawrence, the I'm not retiring, you're retiring, is not out there today, but is back in the facility. So I don't make too much of anything of it on who does or doesn't participate in what specific individual drill, as long as they're just at the facility, being part of the team. Coach has a plan. General manager has a plan. I would say owner has a plan, but we don't really have like an incumbent group yet, despite all the rumors. Another video that we got on there, but you get what I'm saying. Like, I am going to give the Seahawks more leeway this offseason than I have ever at any point to have a plan and have the track record now to show that they know what they're doing with all their guys. Curious what you guys think, as I said, as always about this, but of all three of these, if I was going to double back onto one of them, it would be the running back situation. And I'm just curious what you guys see the end game here in terms of how you want Jadarian Price used early on versus who we all think his ceiling can be and how good he can be. And does any of that change the overall offensive approach? Sean Alexander has been quoted this offseason saying that Price is going to be potentially, or should be potentially, or how, I forget the exact way that he phrased it, but it's going to be the only 1,000-yard rusher in the rookie class of running backs. And to have a guy like that who's poised as like a potential breakout, like a guy with a good pedigree who has a high upside, again, it's all good, it's all positive, but do you immediately just jump Charbonnet back into being the guy? Like, it's no fault of his that he's not around. Do you find a balance between the two? Do you need to shift to a little bit more run than we did last season if there are two explosive backs a couple months into the season, both really kicking? Obviously, that's a good problem to have. I just think of all the things that I'm hearing and absorbing so far, that's the one that I'm most curious about. New offensive coordinator, a lot of returning pieces in terms of the skill positions. The line looks good, despite the injury potentially today. It's going to happen. It's part of football. But I think you get what I'm saying. All good, but then another piece gets added that could be a dynamic, explosive piece. And then what does that do to the balance of how everything else is getting distributed? Because I do kind of feel like it's not broke, don't fix it. So I don't really want to mess with the offense, and you'd hypothetically just be like, okay, Price can just fill that productive running back role that Charbonnet had, but then you also say, like, that other guy is coming back. It's good problems to have. I keep saying it. All right, I'm a broken record. I'll stop bugging you guys. Talk to you next time. Subscribe, like, dislike, comment, share. Appreciate you all. We'll talk to you next time.